Well, hi, I'm John Derry, Serenity Vista here in beautiful Boquete.
And I'm Jane Derry.
So I'm really pleased to share a little bit about our story, about how we came to be here. My original profession was clinical pharmacy. I worked in teaching hospitals and in the pharmaceutical industry in research and development, and increasingly became interested in adverse drug reactions, toxicity, addiction liability, and found a calling of wanting to help people with addiction.
And prior to meeting John, my life had been on a similar trajectory. I'd been working in community pharmacy for a number of years in Alberta, Canada. And then when I began my own recovery journey, I started working at a safe house for teenagers and helping teens and their families try to find a way out of whatever was going on for them at that time. So working a lot with addiction.
So in my 40s, I gave that up, that career, and went to Minnesota to do graduate work in addiction treatment. And following that, started a private practice of counseling people that were looking for help. And I became increasingly aware of the fact that there were a lot of people that needed more than just a weekly 1-hour counseling visit, but didn't necessarily need the level of hospital care that you would get in a traditional drug rehab. Yeah, so, we developed a successful retreat concept in Kelowna, British Columbia, and then came to the feeling of wanting to expand and go to a more of a getaway feeling, of a more of a bit of a resort getaway, relaxed place where we could have more of a holistic based program. We found Boquete, Panama, and as they say, the rest is history. We love it here. We've been here for 12 years now, and it's just an ideal location for the holistic level of care that we provide for people recovering from addiction.
Serenity Vista is a holistic program. We work with the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. So addiction affects the entire person's life, and the entire life has to be addressed in our philosophy. But alongside that, we're also in this beautiful setting. So we have this serenity of the natural environment and the dogs. We have fabulous meals where we sit down as a family-like dynamic for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is all lovingly prepared with fresh ingredients. And as much work goes on at the breakfast table as maybe in a therapy session. So there's the food and the animals and the natural setting, and then we do music therapy. We have a fabulous therapist, Art Blevins, who does sound baths and drumming, and he's very good and passionate about what he does. And we have yoga a couple of times a week, art therapy, so people are like letting themselves speak in different ways than words to get out what's been going on for them.
And I would just add that because we intentionally keep the program small, we have a maximum of 4 people at a time. So Jane mentioned, therapy happening around the dining room table. We get to know our guests. They're guests, they're not clients, they're not patients. We get to know our guests really well. We spend a lot of time together, and they get to know us. And so when we talk about holistic in terms of body, mind, and spirit, it's not just anyone's body, mind, and spirit. It's the individual that is with us, that we get to know them very well, and they will open up and identify things in their life that they might not even have known were problematic. So the healing is very deep and very intensive. We look at the interplay between thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. which is often overlooked with a lot of therapy. And during that process, as issues get identified and solutions start to emerge, the transformation that we see in people is nothing less than miraculous. And we feel very honored to do this work. And it feels like a sacred privilege to be able to work with people and have them be so open and vulnerable and honest and raw with us. And the change is amazing.
Two of our best therapists are our therapy dogs. Deva is a 12-year-old chocolate Labrador, so she has the most experience. And Aria she's just 9 months old. She's a German Shepherd. And the two dogs are a very important part because people feel safe to open up with the dog. There's no judgment from the dog. They offer this comic relief. People would be really, really hurting and going into some very deep healing and pain, and the dog just wants you to throw the ball, and it's like, come on, throw the ball. So this comic relief that they often offer just at the right time, and the companionship, and just their innocence and their ability to be always living in the moment and sharing that skill that often has to be learned about how to live in the moment.
Yeah, that unconditional
they don't
love.
hold grudges.
Saba listens to a lot of stories, we're pretty sure, and has helped a lot of people with that love.
Part of the holistic program also includes a weekly visit to the spa. We go to the local Highlands spa on Tuesday afternoons for a massage and more yoga and the use of the facility there. And we also do quite a bit of meditation in our program. And we do recreation on Saturdays. So on Saturday mornings, we're doing something really fun. That's horseback riding or zip lining or the 3 waterfall hike. Or
another new favorite right now is people are really liking e-bicycles. So we go on bicycle tours around the region and up into the valley, and people really are enjoying that. So a lot of different activities to reconnect with the outdoors, to reconnect with nature, get the blood moving, and learn to have fun again. It's quite interesting. Some people once in a while will even do mini golf or putt-putt golf as an activity. And the hilarity, the fun that we have, it's really awesome to see people during a drug rehab recovery program have a big belly laugh over something like as simple as mini golf. So we have a lot of fun. We get out and we get some exercise, and we have the most beautiful nature here in Boquete to be able to do that in and to really appreciate nature.
Yes, and that is including the coffee tours, famous Boquete coffee, and we do the bee and butterfly tour as well. And it's surprising that the coffee tour is often people's favorite, even though they're like coffee tour, but afterwards they're like blown away with what we have to offer in Boquete for coffee tours. So why did we choose Boquete? All over the world of places to choose from. We had looked at a property on the Caribbean side of Panama and a property on the Pacific side of Panama. And on that second trip from Canada to check out these properties, we decided to drive across the country and see what's in the middle. And when we got into Boquete and we come around that corner, we were just blown away. And as we continued to drive around, it was like, could we live here? Could we live here? And we stopped to have coffee at Cafe Ruiz, and the smell of roasting coffee filled the air. There was a double rainbow. The hummingbirds were all over the flowers, and we just looked at each other. Could we live here? And we could, and we do.
Yeah, there's a peace and serenity and a simplicity quality of life here that we really value. The nature is spectacular. The community is warm and welcoming. There's a lot of English-speaking people, a lot of expats, a lot of professional people. Our other counselors and therapists, psychologists, they come from the community of Boquete. And so we're really blessed to have a pool of amazing people that work along with Jane and I, providing this amazing program. And yeah, Boquete is home now, and all of our guests who come here love it and really appreciate the peace and quiet and the serenity, hence Serenity Vista. The views of serenity visually, but also experientially, of becoming serene, coming out of a life of increasing turmoil and distress, and finding an inner peace and a serenity.
And just Panama, the country is so fabulous. The people are amazing. We fell in love with the locals, so inviting and warm, and so it's all of that. The people, the country, and Boquete mean the crown, the jewel in the crown of Panama, we believe.
The land of eternal spring. So we've been in Boquete for 12 years now. We first started off at a smaller facility, and as Serenity Vista grew and we needed a larger and a better fitting location, we started looking, and Ryan Brash at Casa Solutions helped us. We started looking at what was available, and when we saw this particular property, we saw the potential that has now manifested into this spectacular retreat. It's stunningly beautiful. In fact, it is so perfect and magnificent. It's a very unique building and property with beautiful gardens. We initially thought that it might even be outside of our range. How are we going to be able to manifest this? And working with Ryan, we saw nothing but possibilities, and we put one foot in front of the other with many of the kinds of principles that we instill into our program of looking at possibilities rather than limitations. And one thing led to another, and the deal came together in a way that was a win-win for everyone involved. And we just feel honored and blessed to be here. We've done a lot of work to upgrade it and improve it and make it comfortable and warm and beautiful. And we're always pleased when people come and share in this spectacular place that we call Serenity Vista.
Yeah, I think of it as a miracle that fell into our lap. Of course, it didn't just fall into our lap. A lot of work had to go on, but it is a miracle. And when we were first looking at the house, what everyone kept saying, people like Ryan and people like that were inspecting the house, and we just kept hearing over and over, but this house really needs his love.
Right.
This house needs someone that loves it. It had been a rental for 4 years prior to us taking it. So the renters kept it out, but it needed the love.
Yeah.
Choosing one piece of the house to talk about as transformational, as we were fixing everything up, one of the things that remained with a blue tarp over it for almost the longest period of time was the
months.
Atrium, which is the center of the home, the jewel of the crown of this house. And just I was so anxious to get in there and start doing the gardening and having that pond and the fountain done. And so the difference between that, what we saw when we first moved here, like I mentioned, there was it was just overgrown and a lot of dead plants, and now what it looks like now is a sparkling fountain. We have koi. I was just looking at some photographs when we put our little fish in, and they were just like this big, and now they're like this big. And we have beautiful flowers that bloom in the pond. it's just a real focal point for guests and for us to be able to sit and watch the fish at any time of the day. You can go into the outside, do a little gardening or trim a flower. It's just this beautiful, tranquil space. And the setup of the house, you can be up on the street of the house, and if all the doors are open, you can look from the street through the atrium, see the fountain, and look all the way down to the river. I think it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's a spectacular, very unique home. The architecture has got a bit of a Mediterranean feel to it, with archways and high ceilings. It's bright and open and airy, and teak wood everywhere. Several of the ceilings are solid teak, some of the nicest woodwork I've ever seen. And as we were improving the gardens and taking out some of the trees that had grown into being in the way, and we have some of the furniture that we've made for the home has come from the trees from this actual property. So it's organic and growing, and it's got a life of its own and a real unique character that's warm and inviting.
Including the tile floors, the terracotta tile throughout the entire house. Spectacular.
Yeah. We feel really honored to do this work here at Serenity Vista. It feels like a real privilege. And people trust us, many of which come from North America, some from Europe, the UK. We've had people as far away as New Zealand come here, and they trust us with their lives. Things on the outside might be looking like they're going really well, but they have this feeling on the inside that, they're struggling. There's this spiritual suffering or almost like a death that's happening inside, and they're looking for someone to help them find themselves again and find a new love of life again. So I think what we feel the most honored and happy about is when we see that transformation happening in people, and the extension that we see. Many people keep in touch with us. The extension of their renewed health spreading out to the entire family system.
For example, we had a woman who the impetus for her coming for treatment was that her daughter was about to have the first grandchild and wasn't willing to let grandma look after the child with their drinking. And that can happen. And so after this person's finished their treatment, and we get a picture of her with the grandchild, for example, and then as the years go by, seeing that relationship and the next grandchildren coming. We had a guest that came through our program and decided to come back to visit in Boquete and bring his mother, father, and brother for Christmas. And we were able to host them for Christmas and see their family reunited as he's celebrating 2 years of sobriety. Those kinds of things, what comes to mind for me is what's most fulfilling is because that's such a visceral visual of the family being reunited. And just staying in touch with people as the years go by.
Addiction is very much a family disease. One person is almost like the designated sick person, and they get sick with addiction, but the whole family suffers. And the healing that we see over the years of people keeping in touch with us, of the entire family system, it's just mind-boggling and very rewarding. And families are seeing that themselves too, and will sometimes send other family members. So we've had one after the other. We've had spouses come. A husband will go home, and the wife sees the change in the husband, and months later contacts us and say, "I want that too. Can I come?" So we've had a number of family members come from people who have come through and healed from the program, and it's awesome to see. So if you think you might be having a problem with some form of addiction, whether it's alcohol or another drug or behavior, gambling or some other form of compulsivity, you give us a call and we'll chat. And if we're not the right fit for you, then we will say so, and we will, if appropriate, recommend something else. We're well connected and we know what kind of programs are available, especially in North America. If it feels like you've been struggling and trying all kinds of ways to make improvements, stopping, for example, alcohol for a day, a week, a month, maybe successfully, but finding that nothing changes on the inside and you find yourself with a drink in your hand again, wondering, how did that happen? Am I able to keep this house of cards, this charade going much longer? You know, one of our sayings is, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And if you feel like you've done everything that you can and you're at your wit's end and you want help, we get it. We can empathize with you and we would be honored to help you. And asking for help is the beginning of the process. Asking for help. And what a relief that is when people ask for help and trust us to get on a plane and fly here from wherever they are and stay here for our 45, 70, or 90-day program. It seems like a long time. Most people think when they first come the first few weeks, it's like, oh, this is going to be a long time. But as they get into the program and they get to really know us and they start to embrace their new life in recovery and find a new zest for life, almost without exception, usually around the last week, it's like, oh man, I wish this would last a little bit longer. They want to savor every moment. There's just so much to pay attention to and to absorb, and so it's a process, but it starts with identifying you have a problem. It's baffling, cunning, and powerful, and the help begins the moment that you say, please help me.
And increasingly, one of the things that does set us apart from treatment in North America is that we are abstinent-based. Increasingly in North America, they're offering, or more than offering, that's what you get, is medication-assisted therapy. So you're taking a drug to help you to stay off drugs, and it creates this cycle. So, there's the cycle of the medication, so the pharmacy, the big insurance companies, and the big rehab companies, and it's a real cycle. It's a bit of a merry-go-round. Yeah. So we offer something completely different. So coming here in this family-like dynamic with complete abstinence, it's free from any of your medical records, free from your insurance records or your employment.
Yeah, the privacy is really important to many people. If you're high functioning and you might be recognized in your community and you don't want to go to your local drug rehab and have it known in the community, you can contact us, and all your neighbors or your friends need to know, if you wish to even share that, is that you're going to a retreat in Panama for some rest and relaxation.
Wellness.
And like Jane says, it's completely abstinent-based. We really pay attention to core principles that over the test of time have proven to be effective, and some of the new medical approaches, while they might look good in a clinical report and short-term clinical trials that might go for 3 months to a year, long-term, the basics that we encourage and expose people here to have proven over time to work the best. Another one of the unique aspects of our program is that, being non-clinical and very holistic, it's real life experience. So when people come to the program, it's not like they're just cloistered here. Not that this isn't a bad place to be. It's beautiful and peaceful and serene. But we get out in the community too, in a real life situation. So 2 meals a week are out at local restaurants, as an example. And for an alcoholic who is in early recovery, being asked by the waiter what they would like to drink is a new experience. and to find a way to be comfortable at ordering a tonic water or a ginger ale is a new experience. So, we talk about helping people learn to experience life on life's terms. And so the more robust and complete and real life experience that they have here, the more that they're going to have opportunity to heal in all aspects of their life, and to go home with the tools to not just go home sober, but to know how to stay sober no matter what life presents, and regardless of the setting, who they're with, and what's going on in their life. So it's a whole life experience as opposed to just a whole person experience.